retribution. Strong line in the sand, we abuse it. This moment we own, and watch us prove it. We are released, the revolution. Let's go ignite, elements collide in a flash of light. And you feel the hope that means it's time. Light the fuse, bring the boom, dynamite. Let's go ignite, elements collide in a flash of light. And you feel the hope that means it's time. Light the fuse, bring the boom, dynamite. Let's live forever. Let's go ignite, elements collide in a flash of light. And you feel the hope that means it's time. Light the fuse, bring the boom, dynamite. Let's go ignite, elements collide in a flash of light. And you feel the hope that means it's time. Light the fuse, bring the boom, dynamite. Let's go ignite, elements collide in a flash of light. And you feel the hope that means it's time. Light the fuse, bring the boom, dynamite. Let's go ignite, elements collide in a flash of light. And you feel the hope that means it's time. Light the fuse, bring the boom, dynamite.
Take lessons, Lord.
If you smell what the rock is cooking, the rock says, the rock says, the rock says, the rock.
I hear voices in my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me.
Hello and welcome to the AEW Wrestling Talk Show for the first time in 2021. I, with Reese Jones and
Sean Smith, as we bring you, as my colleague, the first AEW talk show of 2021.
this will be AEW's first pay-per-view of the year, and it sees the return of Revolution.
Yes, which will take place at the time of this recording tomorrow night, well, 2 days' time, on March 7th, 2021, at Jacksonville, Florida, at Gatesville.
Yes, first there is a couple of notes to make. Originally, this pay-per-view was scheduled to take place last week on Saturday, February 27th.
Yes.
However, there were a few issues going on back behind the scenes as things happen. And due to UFC having a pay-per-view on March 6th, this was made March 7th, which also makes it the first AEW pay-per-view to take place on a Sunday.
Yes. First ever.
We have 9 matches, well 8 plus the buy-in / pre-show match taking place. The pre-show match will feature a recurring theme on the main show of some tag team action with former AEW Women's Champion Rio teaming up with Thunder Rosa to take on Dr. Britt Baker, and Rebel.
Yes, that is your pre-show / buy-in match.
On the main card, we have a tag team match for the tag team championships.
As the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, defend their titles against the Inner Circle's Chris Jericho and MJF.
On the January 20th episode of Dynamite, there was a tag team battle royal to see who would face the Young Bucks at Revolution. The Young Bucks also took part in this match, in which if they won, they could choose their opponents. Jericho would win the match for himself and MJF, but then the Young Bucks weren't done trying to rile things up fair, because they then announced that they would defend the titles against Santana and Ortiz, also of the Inner Circle, on the February 17th episode of Dynamite, which could have resulted in an Inner Circle versus Inner Circle match.
Yes, but that didn't happen.
Now, as 2020 went away, a certain WCW and TNT legend returned to that broadcast in the form of Sting.
Yes, your ears do not deceive you. Yes, Sting is part of AEW.
He would, over the coming weeks, align himself with TNT champion Darby Allin, who has been having his fair share of problems with Team Taz.
Ain't that the truth?
So, it was then announced that Team Taz will face Darby Allin and Finn in a street fight tag team match. This features a lot of questions because Sting has not wrestled a match since September of 2015, when he was given a injury that forced him to retire. But that seems to be going on the less and less these days, because injuries that have been forcing people to retire seem to miraculously go away.
Yes.
And Sting appears to be the latest example of that.
Pretty much so.
Now, this next night is going to take a bit of explaining.
Yeah. Which is why, hence, this show may be in 2 parts.
There was on the January 20th episode of Dynamite, a 16-woman elimination tournament was set up to decide a challenger for the AEW Women's Championship. This tournament was broken up with 8 women from the US and 8 women from Japan.
Bear with us, this may take some time.
In round 1, Thunder Rosa defeated Leah
Layla Rush,
and Rio defeated Serena Deeb.
On the other side, we had Nyla Rose defeat Tay Conte of the Dark Order.
The Doctor Britt Baker, DMD, defeated Maddie Reckensel.
Wenzowski, Yaka Sakuraki defeated Mai Tsuruka, and Emi Sakura defeated Venue.
Then we had Ryo Mizumi defeat
Maki Ito,
and Aja Khan defeat Ren
Zadakura.
Well, that was the opening rounds. Quarterfinal matches. On the States side, we had Thunder Rosa defeat Rio. And
Also,
Nyla Rose defeated Dr. Britt Baker.
on the Japanese side, we had Emi Sakuri defeat Emi Sakura. We also had Rio Mitsunumi defeat Aja Kong in the other quarterfinal match.
In the States side for the semi-finals, Nyla Rose defeated Thunder Rosa.
And on the women's side, we had Rio Mitsunumi defeat Yaya Sasakuri to set up the final match.
Which, looking back on it, was probably kind of predictable, because Nyla Rose is a former champion, and she has had several rematches against the current champion already.
So the winner of the final match was Rio Mitsunumi defeating Nyla Rose.
Our next match is a bit of a comedy act.
Yes. As Hangman Adam Page takes on Matt Hardy, but not in an ordinary match.
Whoa. Adam Page has been dancing around ever since being kicked out of the Elite.
Pretty much.
Has been approached by both the Inner Circle and Matt Hardy. Actually said that he was going to be Page agreed to be Hardy's tag team partner, and then Hardy decided to take him to a bar to celebrate, where he thought that he was going to get Adam Page to sign a contract in which Matt Hardy would take 30% of Adam Page's earnings. Safe to say that that did not go down too well. Because the week after, it was revealed to Hardy that Adam Page had unknowingly to Matt Hardy switched contracts, signed a contract for a big money match at a Revolution, in which if Hangman Adam Page wins, he gets 100% of Matt Hardy's first earner quotings for this year. and by the fact that he claims to be an honourable man, and man Adam Page has agreed to put up his first quarter earnings.
Yes. But as we said, this match will probably be a comedy act match.
Well, it's not a match, it's more of a persona, isn't it? Not that they're not decent wrestlers, it's just the stories a bit. Next, we have the Money in the Bank ladder match.
It's the Face of Revolution ladder match.
For a future AEW TNT Championship match.
Yes, and the men involved are Cody Rhodes.
No longer copyrighted.
Yes, thank God. Scorpio Sky, Enter El Zero Miedo of the Lucha Brothers, Lance Archer, Max Caster, and to be announced opponents.
Yes. Next, we get to what will be the main event. Back
in a match that we haven't seen in a long time.
Yes, back on the 2nd of December, winter is coming. Kenny Omega defeated Jon Moxley to become the AEW World Champion.
Yes.
Now, the two will go at it again. Only this time, it will be a exploding barbed wire death match.
A match that we have not seen in 27 years.
A match type that I would say was mostly associated with three initials.
And they are
ECW.
And do we see Kenny Omega walking out of that match with the championship? Or do we see Jon Moxley regain his championship?
Well, when you look at it, there was a Revolution last year where Moxley beat Jericho to win the championship. However, then he didn't have a pregnant wife at home.
No.
This, to me, I could be completely wrong, as the makings of AEW writing Jon Moxley off of TV so he can go and be with Renee and Paquette for a while.
Couldn't agree anything wrong with that, to be honest. So, our next match also has a bit of personal rivalry to it.
And like I stated, has running theme, tag team match.
Yes, as Mira, otherwise known as Rusev, teams up with Kit Sabian, being coming to the ring by his now wife, Penelope Ford, to take on the team of best friends of Freshly Squeezed, Orange Cassidy, and Chuck Taylor.
Yes, and would you care to elaborate on what's going on in this story?
Well, let's just say there's been a bit of beef between best friends and Miro and Kip Sabian ever since one of Miro and Kip Sabian's arcade machines was broken during a match. And there has been a lot of hatred between the two teams, even to the point where best friends, where Chuck Taylor was forced to be Miro and Kip Sabian's butler for a month. It even came to a head that on Kit Sabian and Penelope Ford's wedding day, that the best friends would get their own back.
Weddings
Prompting even more between the two teams.
Yes, weddings in wrestling never go down well.
But that wedding, to our research, was legit. a shoot, were.
Keeping with the theme of tag team,
Yes, it's gonna be a
because
big one.
this is a casino tag team royal match for a future AEW tag team championship match. Now, bear with us.
There's a lot of tag teams, and we do mean a lot.
We have Bear Country,
Bear Boulder and Bear Bronson,
taking on the Dark Orders,
Alex Reynolds and John Silver,
taking on the Dark Order,
Evil and Stu Grayson,
taking on the Inner Circles, Santana and Otis,
Ortiz,
taking on the Butcher and the Blade,
Private Party, Isaiah and Mark Queen,
taking on Top Flight,
Darius Martin and Dante Martin,
taking on Death Triangle,
Pac and Ray Phoenix,
taking on Varsity Blondes,
Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr.,
taking on the Siddell Brothers,
Matt Seidel and Mike Seidel,
taking on Soko Uncensored,
Frank Kazarian and Christopher Daniels,
taking on the Not So Nightmares,
Good Dustin Rhodes and QT Marshall,
taking on Chaos Project,
Luther and Serpentico,
taking on the Gun
the
Club,
Gun Club of Austin Gunn and Colton Gunn,
taking on the Dark Order.
Alan Angels and Preston Bats.
And yes, you did not miss who. We did say the Dark Order 3 times.
Yes, so the Dark Order have 3 chances to win and 3 chances to lose.
Yeah, I would say that the winners of this probably depend on who wins the Tag Team Championship match.
Earlier or later on in the card, depending how it's booked.
But in a nutshell, that does it for the match card for AEW Revolution.
Join us next week when we give you our reaction to AEW Revolution.
We shall quickly one more time go through the cards.
Yes.
By interest pre-show match, Leo and Thunder Rosa take on Dr. Britt Baker and Rebel.
On the main card, the Young Bucks will defend their AEW World Tag Team titles against the Inner Circle's Chris Jericho and MJF.
Team tags of Brian Cage and Ricky Starks take on Darby Allin and Sting in a tag team street fight.
The AEW Women's World title will be on the line as Akira Shida defends it against Ryo Mitsunumi.
Adam Page takes on Matt Hardy in a big money match where the winner will receive the loser's first quarter earnings for this year.
Cody Rhodes, Scorpio Sky, Penta El Zero Mino, Lance Archer, Max Caster, and a to-be announced opponent will all face each other in a Face of the Revolution ladder match for a future shot at the AEW TNT title.
Kenny Omega will take on John Moxley in a exploding barbed wire death match.
Miro and Kip Sabian will take on best friends Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor.
And there will be a tag team Casino Royale in which we are not going to go for every tag team again.
No.
So whoever winner will receive a future shot at the tag team championships.
So that about does it.
Yes, that does it. However, there was one other teensy-weensy bit of news that would fall our way regarding AEW,
Oh yes.
and it has got people talking in multiple ways.
Yes, good and negative.
We have had so many people in AEW's existence, some companies, and or just big signings when they're expected to go to another company.
Yes.
However, this one was a bit of a weird one because on February 24th, it was announced that this person is now All Elite.
Well, it's the big show.
Yes, you heard that right. The Big Show, aka Paul Wright, is now working for AEW.
Yes. Catching us all off guard.
Now, there was talk, well, he will be a commentator for the upcoming YouTube show of AEW Dark Revelation. And probably once in a while, he'll be an active in-ring competitor.
Yes.
And on Wednesday's episode of Dynamite, he said he had a big scoop that AEW would sign a Hall of Fame worthy talent that is a huge surprise and a huge asset for AEW at Revolution. So this will go one of two ways. This will either be the missing person in the ladder match, or they will just do it as a standalone segment.
Only time will tell.
Yes, so we'll be discussing all of this stuff with the results of Revolution next week.
So until then, it's been
Grace Jones, and he's been
John Smith, and we will see you next week.